Welcome back to the Aston Social Lab. For any newcomers today, my name is Ellen and I'm an associate here at Aston Social. The last time we caught up, we had a look at Meta Business Manager, what it is and how it works. We also briefly touched on Business Suite and how it differs from Business Manager. Today, we're going to look more closely at Business Suite and give you a tour of the platform to help you better understand how it works and what features may be useful to you. Hopefully you'll come out of this session learning something that you didn't know before. So before we jump in, I wanted to give you a bit of a refresher of what we spoke about in the last session to help you better understand how it all works. So Business Manager, not Suite, is where you manage everything in the back end of your Facebook business account. So this is where you add all of your assets, your Facebook page, your Instagram account, ad accounts, pixels, catalogs, all those things. And it's also when you manage which employees or agency partners have access to these assets. So it's a bit like a control management system. So now Business Suite, the topic we're covering today, is all about the front end. So all the fun stuff that you get to do to get your content in front of the right people. So let's jump in. Okay. So today we're going to look at what Business Suite is and give you a bit of an overview. And we're also going to go through a step-by-step guide on how to actually use Business Suite. So what is Meta Business Suite, also known as Facebook Business Suite? As you know, it recently changed names. So Meta Business Suite is a free tool that centralizes Facebook and Instagram all in the one place. So you can manage everything from your page notifications, your messages and posts, whilst also being able to track insights and trends. So reporting basically. And just to recap what I said before, what is it and how does it differ to Business Manager? So Business Manager, again, is the back-end ownership and access of your Facebook page and all of your Facebook assets. And Business Suite is the front-end management, so where you create and schedule posts, reply to messages, all those sorts of things. So how do you actually use this tool? While it looks complicated when you look at it at first glance, once you know your way around it, it's actually very easy and very useful to navigate. So when you first open Business Suite, it takes you to what's called the home screen. So this is where you see an overview of your Facebook page and your Instagram account. You'll see things like updates, recent posts and ads, and also insights. So again, the reporting. You can also create or promote your business from here as well. So this is what it looks like. This is our Aston Social Business Suite homepage. So at the top there, you can see you can manage the Facebook page by actually visiting it or going directly to the Instagram account. If you wanted to create a post straight away, you could just click the button and create your post from there. You can also do the same with stories and ads. And then below that, you can also create to-do lists. So if you've got multiple people managing your page, you can create tasks. A bit like a project management tool, which is quite handy. And then you can tick them off once they're complete. On the right-hand side there, you can see insights and trends. So it's a good way to see how you're tracking, how many people you're reaching on both platforms, your audience as well. And then on the left-hand side there, you can see the menu, and we're going to go through each of these menu items as we go along. So the next one is notifications. So here is where you see all the new notifications for your Facebook page and Instagram account. So pretty straightforward and probably something you're already familiar with. So there on the left-hand side, you can see notifications. So every time someone likes your page or likes a post or comments on a post, or even reminds you if someone's messaged you and you haven't replied yet, like you can see in that first notification there. So pretty straightforward. Next up is your inbox. So this is where you can actually read the new messages and comments from your Facebook page, Messenger and Instagram accounts. And you can also create automated responses to help save time when responding to questions people commonly ask. So you can do a bit of like an FAQ. And this is what the inbox looks like. This is what it looks like when it's nice and neat and there's nothing in there. But in the top menu there, you can see all the different sections where you can read messages. So you can look at all of your messages at once. You can look just at Messenger. You can look only at Instagram Direct if you wanted to. You could look only at your Facebook comments or only at your Instagram comments. And there's also chat plugins if you've got that set up through your website. And then if you wanted to create an automated response, so those FAQs that I just mentioned before, you click on the top right there where it's got automated responses, and it takes you to another page where you can set those up. And that green little light there where it's got available shows that we're active on the page at the moment. If you wanted to, you could also set times where you're not active, so people know that you're not there right now, but you will reply at another time. So you could do, for example, 9 to 5, or 7 a.m. to 7 p.m, just so people know that if they respond to you after hours, you probably won't respond until the next day. Next up is posts and stories. So here is where you publish or schedule new posts and stories from your Facebook page and Instagram account. So here we're looking at the Facebook posts and Instagram posts. So we're looking at the ones that have already been published. You can see the published button is highlighted in blue. That's the section that we're looking at. And below that is a breakdown of all the posts that have recently been published in order of when they were published. It gives you some insights as to how they've performed. So how many people it's reached, how many people engaged with the post. So that's likes, comments, shares, reactions, comments, and shares. So it splits them all up. And you can also customize the columns if you wanted to as well. So for example, if it was a video and you wanted to see how many people viewed the video, you could toggle that too. And if you wanted to look at a specific date range, you can also toggle that as well. If you look just above the posts there where it's got lifetime, April 1 to April 22, you could change that if you wanted to look for a specific post within a certain time frame. As well as published, you can look at scheduled posts, so ones that are coming up. You might have scheduled a bunch of posts and you just want to make sure that they've all been set up correctly on the right dates. So that's where you would go to look at those. And then lastly is drafts. So if you've got a post ready to go but not quite ready to post or schedule it, that'll sit in there and you can come back to it at another time. On the top right there as well, you can see some buttons there to create stories or create posts. So from there, you can either post them directly or you can schedule them for another time. Below that, we've got stories. So you can see all of the stories that have been published in the past. So only you can see these. People who follow your page can't see historical stories, only you can. So you can see stories that are currently active, if you have any active, ones that you've scheduled. Again, you might have scheduled a bunch of stories and you want to make sure that they've been set at the right date and time. And then you can see all the archived ones as well, if you wanted to look at something that you've done in the past. And if you wanted to as well, where it's got shared to all, that drop-down menu, you could separate them. So if you wanted to see only the ones that you posted to Facebook or only the stories that you posted to Instagram, you can also split those up too. Next is the feed and grid. So you can actually get a real life view of what your Facebook feed and what your Instagram feed look like. The Instagram one is quite handy because if you've got a bit of a theme going, it's a good way to kind of keep track. And again, you can also toggle by time frame. So if you're looking for a specific post that was, maybe a year ago, you can change the time frame to make it a bit easier to find, save you scrolling for several minutes. Then we've got Facebook photos. So this is the same way that you would look at photos on your Facebook page, but just another view of it within Business Suite to save you leaving. So you've got your Facebook albums at the top and then all of your Facebook photos down the bottom there. If you wanted to have a look or manage those, you can create albums from here and then also add photos to your page. So again, it's very similar or almost identical to managing your photos on your actual Facebook page. You can also run A/B tests with your posts, with your organic posts. So if you've got, for example, 2 images and you wanted to see which one would serve better, you could run an A/B test with that too, and you would do that here in this section. And then lastly, under posts and stories are mentions and tags. So you can look at all of the posts on Facebook and Insta that your business has been mentioned and tagged in. So this is really good for keeping track of those. And if you've got influencers, it's a great way to manage, how many of them have actually tagged you in posts and things like that. So you can click on any of these posts to see more details and information about them. And then if you wanted to as well, you could also reshare them. So it's a pretty handy tool that not a lot of people know about. Next up is commerce. So if your business manager account has a commerce account, you'll also be able to access it from Business Suite on the desktop. And from here, you can also create a commerce account for your business if you don't have one. So the commerce section kind of sits on both Business Suite and Business Manager. You can access it on both. And then we have the planner. So the planner gives you a calendar view of your past scheduled and currently scheduled posts to help you keep track. So a bit like what I mentioned before, but it's more of a calendar format. So you can look at it by week or by month, depending on what your preference is. So here we're looking at the week view, and we can see a post that went out on the Tuesday, posts that went out on the Thursday. Now those are highlighted in orange because they were stories. And you can see that they're still active. Once they go inactive, you'll be able to, it'll change at the bottom there, so you know. And then you can also separate these between Facebook and Instagram if you wanted to look at one platform. And from here, you can also create posts. So if you wanted to schedule posts and kind of visualize how it sits in the calendar, you could do it from here as well by clicking the create button on the top right. So that's the planner. Next up is ads. So in Business Suite, you can also create ads and place them on your Facebook and Instagram account. So this is boosting posts and promoting your page, so page likes. But we would still recommend setting these up via your ad account because it's a lot easier to track and a lot easier to set up. You can make sure that you've got everything intact, like your pixels, your domains, your audiences, and all that. It's just a bit easier to manage, or at least in our opinion. And this is what it looks like here. So you can probably understand what I mean about managing it all in the one place on Ads Manager versus Business Suite. So at the top there, it gives you a summary. This is an ad account that we don't really use anymore, hence why there's not much data. It's just for the example's sake. But it does give you an overview of what things look like over the last 60 days, or again, you can toggle the time frame and choose a specific period that you want to look at. And then it also breaks down some of your recent ads. So if you wanted to just have a quick look at how something's performing or compare it to something in the past, you can have a look at those here. And then at the top right there, again, you can see another blue button that says create ad. So from there, you can boost a post or create a page likes ad or another campaign. And if you get stuck as well, Facebook support has really improved over the last few years. There's a button there to actually start a messenger conversation with a representative from Facebook to help you. The insights section is where you see details about your business's performance, such as trends, activity on the content that you share, and more detailed information about your audience. So again, this is what it looks like. And we're looking over the last 28 days. Again, you can toggle this. So this is just an overview that we're looking at. So you can actually set goals if you wanted to. So if you want to create some KPIs and track those, you can do that here. And you can see results from your paid campaigns, but also organically on Facebook and Instagram. And then below that, your content. So that's just the overview. You can also see results, content, and your audience too. So I've skipped results because there's nothing really to see there, but in content, you can see recent content. So some of those are stories and posts, and track how they're performing. Again, you can toggle columns. And if you wanted to as well, you could export it into a spreadsheet if you wanted to distribute it amongst other people in the business. And then your audience. So I know you can have a look at these on the Instagram app, and I'm sure a lot of you have done that before, but if you wanted to get an overview of Facebook and Insta together, this is another place you can look. So you can see how many Facebook likes you have versus Instagram followers, a breakdown of the audience demographics by age and gender. So you can see on our page on Facebook, majority are actually men, which is interesting. And sitting between that 25 to 34 age bracket. While on Insta, it's a bit more evenly skewed, again, between the 25 to 34 age bracket, but we do have a few more on 35 to 44. And then you can see the breakdown of cities, so location, where they are using or looking at your content from. And again, if you wanted to export this to present it to other members within the organization, you have the option to do that too. Lastly, there are some extra tools in the Business Suite desktop. You'll find these other tools and settings you might use to manage your business presence in the More Tools section. So this is things like your ads manager, your business settings, or your page settings. And you can also go to your actual Facebook page from there as well, if you wanted to have a look at it. So you'd find that there where there's those 3 lines, and you can see there's a whole bunch of different options there under all tools. It's basically everything that we looked at. So things that engage your audience, so inbox, planner, posts and stories, managing things to do with your Facebook or Instagram account, so billing for your ads, business apps, file manager. So that's essentially like your assets for your ads or your Facebook photos. You can visit your page settings, profiles, and then everything to do with advertising, and then analytics. And there you have it. That's the guide to Business Suite. So I hope that it's looking less intimidating for you to use, and that you've learned something new, and that it's actually a useful tool for you to use when managing your Facebook account. So good luck. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop us a line anytime. We're more than happy to help you out. Have a good day.